Chapter 4, Shadows in the Tall Grass. The morning sun crept over the treetops as Cage and Yoru followed the winding path toward Sand Gemtown. The forest was alive with the rustle of Pokemon, but there was a heaviness in the air Cage hadn't noticed the day before, a sense that something was watching their every step. Yoru noticed it too. He walked a little ahead, every muscle taut, one hand resting on the strap of his old bag as if it might become a shield. Cage tried to match his pace, but his legs were tired and his mind kept drifting back to Maysut, to the strange shrine, to the way the forest seemed to close around them the deeper they went. They'd barely passed a berry bush when Cage heard voices up ahead. He froze, grabbing Yoru's sleeve. The voices were low, hurried, and angry. "Just hurry up. We're supposed to meet at the lab before sunrise," one said, his accent sharp and unfamiliar. "Keep your mask on," another replied. "You never know who's watching out here." Yoru motioned for Cage to stay behind him. They crept forward, keeping to the trees, until they could see a clearing just off the path. 3 figures in black stood around a battered crate. Their outfits were marked with a jagged red symbol, a horned demon mask stitched on the back. "Team ONI." Cage's heart hammered in his chest. These weren't just stories anymore. He could see the glint of metal at their belts, the way their eyes flicked nervously between the trees. One of them wore a half mask like the creatures in old Hokkaido legends. The effect was unsettling, almost inhuman. "We shouldn't be here this long," the masked grunt muttered. "That Maysut guy's got spies everywhere." The biggest of the 3 kicked the crate. "Don't worry about Maysut. We've got orders from MA. Move the shipment, and if you see anyone, deal with them." Yoru tensed, glancing at Cage. His eyes said everything: stay calm. Stay hidden. But fate, as always, had other plans. A wild starly crashed out of the bushes, startled by their presence. It screeched, flapping madly. Cage ducked, but his foot snapped a twig. All 3 grunts whirled, eyes narrowing. "Who's there?" the biggest one barked, reaching for a pokeball. Yoru stepped into the clearing, hands raised. "We don't want any trouble. Just passing through." The masked grunt sneered. "No one passes through here without ONI say so." "Who are you?" Cage stepped out behind his dad, heart in his throat. He tried to look brave, but his hands shook. "We're travelers," Yoru said, calm but firm. "Looking for Professor Rowan." The grunts exchanged glances. "Too bad. No one's supposed to see this," the biggest one said, pulling something from his belt, a pokeball, black with red markings. He tossed it. "Go, Zubat." The ball burst open in a flash of dark light, and a Zubat swooped into the air, hissing. It looked strange. Its wings were darker, almost smoky, and its eyes glowed an eerie violet. Yoru moved fast. "Cage, get back." The masked grunt laughed. "Let's show them what ONI's training can do." Zubat, supersonic. The wild starly, still panicked, darted into the clearing, drawing the Zubat's attention. The Zubat shrieked, a pulse of noise hitting Cage like a slap. He staggered, clutching his head. Yoru acted without hesitation. He grabbed a stick and swung at the Zubat, forcing it to veer away. "Stay behind me," he shouted. The 3rd grunt, smaller and meaner, reached for another pokeball. "Let's end this quick. Go, Ekans." A purple snake Pokemon shot out, coiling low, its tongue flicking in and out. Its scales shimmered with strange, dark patterns, another sign of ONI's tampering. Cage's fear gave way to anger. This was wrong. Pokemon weren't supposed to look like this, weren't supposed to be twisted by masks and shadows. Yoru squared his shoulders. "You want a fight? Fine. But you're not hurting my son." The ONI grunts laughed, circling them. Big words for someone with no Pokemon. Yoru's eyes narrowed. Sometimes you don't need a Pokemon to protect what matters. The standoff lasted only a moment. The Zubat dove again, but Yoru was ready. He swung the stick, clipping its wing, and it screeched, spiraling away. The Akan slithered toward Cage, fangs bared. Cage stumbled back, searching for anything to defend himself. His foot hit a rock, and he grabbed it, hurling it at the Akans. It bounced harmlessly off the snake's scales, but distracted it just long enough for Yoru to step between them. The biggest grunt cursed. Enough. Grab the crate and go. MA wants this shipment at the lab, not a fight with some tourists. The masked grunt hesitated, eyeing Yoru and Cage. Next time, you won't be so lucky. With practiced speed, Teemo and I grabbed the crate and disappeared into the trees, their Pokemon slinking after them. Cage collapsed to his knees, shaking. Yoru knelt beside him, checking him over. Are you hurt? Cage shook his head, still dazed. What was wrong with those Pokemon? They looked wrong. Yoru's jaw tightened. ONI's doing, I'd wager. They're using something, maybe those masks, maybe something else to corrupt Pokemon. That's why we're here, Cage. We have to stop them. Cage nodded, swallowing hard. He was scared, but beneath the fear was something else, a stubborn spark that refused to go out. He looked at his dad, saw the same resolve he'd always admired. We can't let them win. Yoru smiled, pride flickering in his eyes. No. We can't. They stood, brushing dirt off their clothes. In the distance, the forest was quiet again, as if nothing had happened. Cage took one last look at the spot where Teemo and I had vanished. He felt changed, somehow not just a boy from Hokkaido anymore, but someone who had seen the darkness up close. Someone ready to fight back. They pressed on, the path to San Gemtown suddenly feeling much more dangerous. But Cage walked with his head high, his father at his side, the shadow of Teemo and I haunting every step, and the promise of new allies, and new Pokemon, waiting just beyond the next hill.